Good morning. Alright, so what do we have here? So yesterday I was looking for some inventory correction, and I mentioned that when you have such a large gap that I wanted to look for half of the gap, which was around 74.97, but we saw this move up, and then they kept selling. You could see that they kept selling around the RTH VWAP, and then we couldn't continue, not even to the half cap. So that showed how much sellers were in a hurry to sell, and that was the first clue. The second clue was that we started getting back below that weekly low again, and they kept selling that. Every little bounce that we had into that area, they kept selling. So then for the first maybe hour and a half, we were trading below the weekly low. So at that point, you were like, okay, this is not looking like it wants to fill the gap. And then we ended up breaking the IB low and then testing through that distribution, like I mentioned, taking those balanced the targets that I had on my chart. I had one at where was it? I had one at 16. Yeah, one at 16 and one at 26. They both got taken out. We bounced right ahead of that weekly low at 74.09. Then we ended up. It was I would say it was a pretty balanced day, but the thing is that we ended up leaving the point of control down below here. So technically that makes the day. It's not a B-shaped profile because it doesn't look like a B-shape, but it does have a little bit of an imbalance, because if you look at the selling tail versus the buying tail, it looks a little more imbalanced to the downside. But you could argue that this point of control has a kind of similar amount of volume that this area right here. So you could argue that it could be a balanced day. But if you do take this as in consideration in relationship to the high of the day, you do have a bearish imbalance that points to that 73-74 area. So I'm keeping that in mind. And today we were trading above value, like overnight. If you look at what happened, we tested lower, then we broke higher. We tested again that previous week's low, and again pretty big sellers. Now we're trading inside value. We're trading below the daily pivots. So as long as this value area high from yesterday holds, which is at 74.55-ish, as long as that holds, then what should happen is that we should see yesterday's value area low at 74.25. So that's number one. And then if we exit, if we break below that area, then obviously the low of yesterday is there, very close to that weekly low. So in this area, I'm going to be looking for one of those look below and fail, and see if we can come back into the range and come back to the high volume area. But then, if we hold below this low, then we have a few references, and a final target will be 73-74. We also do have a previous close that was never tested. I don't know if I can show it on this chart. I don't think I can show it because where is it? So from this day right here, oh, it's that yellow line. Okay, sorry. So from this session right here, we closed here. We never retested that close, so that's an area also that's going to be a little bit of a magnet. And yeah, that's it. Now on the upside, I want to see us establish the range first. I want to see what the traders do at the open, and then if we come back up above the overnight high and above the previous week's low, initially this area could be a little choppy because we have the monthly pivot, we have these lows, but holding above yesterday's high will be confirmation that the bulls are taking control. Then first target will be the 90-day point of control right here at 74.95, and then see if we can fill that gap into the 75.25 area. We have some PMI numbers at 9:45, so that could be some fuel for a move. And that's about it for the week. We do have a couple of minor news, and then Trump speaking at 3 p.m., so we'll see. Okay, what else? NQ, look at NQ with that gap yesterday that also didn't get filled, but we still couldn't take out the previous week's low. So I think that if anything today we should, I don't like to say expect, because you can't expect anything in this market, but I would guess that we're gonna take these lows today, test below them, and then watch that previous week's low on NQ, see if it holds. If we hold below, then there's a gap here, 28 to 34, that we could head there. If we test below and then get back into the range, a little bit of a squeeze higher, is what I would look for. Crude holding again around that 90-day point of control, which is that area that I've been talking about for a few weeks. It ended up getting above it. Now it's looking like it's accepting again at the same area. And gold, after that big up move, came back all the way down to the 40-20 area. Now just balancing again in the same spot, the same area. I think that's it for today. Yeah. Just be careful because volatility is pretty high. Volatility is back at VIX. It's now around 18. And going into the weekend, we'll see if people buy the dip or if they sell before the weekend. So it could be an interesting Friday today. Alright, good luck.